there people, it's Sherry with Dragon Wagon Studio. Thank you for joining me on my channel today. In this tutorial, I would like to do a vase pour on canvas, and I am going to show you how to do that. Pouring resin on canvas is kind of a tricky process, and there's a few steps that you need to do to ensure that you don't have any canvas sags. Make sure your canvas is coated properly. A few extra steps that you really need to ensure before you just go dumping heavy resin on your canvas. So I am going to show you how to do that. I have this kind of funky looking vase that I found at a thrift store. It doesn't fit on my cup turner, so I am going to do it over canvas and get a pretty painting out of it, just kind of some abstract thing. And yeah, let's get started. First things first. I'm gonna have to clean this. So before we start, we gotta do a couple things with our canvas. We need to prep it first by getting all this canvas fluff out of it. This canvas is just from Michael's. Cheap canvases are okay in this application. We are coating it with resin. It's going to be preserved forever. So I do not recommend these canvases for any painting at all. Acrylic or oils, no go. These canvases are incredibly thin. Even though they're pre-gessoed, you can see through them. They are not great. Do not hold up over long term. You know, they're cheap for a reason, and sometimes in art applications, you do not want to go cheap. And canvases is definitely one of those. But in an application like this, where we're doing a resin pour, totally okay. So first, we need to secure our canvas. So pouring something heavy like resin on top of canvas is going to create a sag in your canvas. So what we need to do is put a backing on so you don't get any canvas sag whatsoever. So this is just a piece of foam board that I cut out. You can get this at Dollarama. I think they're like $1.25 or something like that. Super cheap. And just cut it to size. So one foam board will get you 4 16 by 20 canvases. And then a little extra you can make molds or whatever, do something with. So I'm going to take hot glue. Yes, yes, I'm using hot glue today. I know. It's against my religion. But we are going to go around and just glue this in place. And try to do a nice job. I don't take these off afterwards. I leave them on. Some people take them off, but if the resin sinks through the canvas, you're going to have a hell of a time. And you're just going to rip up all your foam and whatnot. So I'm going to go and glue this, and then we will get on with the next step. We got our foam board glued in. You can clean that up later. But now that is secure, so now we got no sag, now we got a little drum. Next step, gesso. But Sherry, it's already gessoed. Yes, but not to my standards. So I'm going to do it again. Just one quick clear coat. I know they come pre-gessoed, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. Oh, we got a rise here. There we go. Just gotta push that out. See, this is the problem with cheap canvases. This piece of wood here is not flat. It's actually got a chunk taken out of it. This is why you don't use cheap canvases for nice art pieces like painting. And they're hiding it. It should be flush, but on the other side it's not flush. And now we got these divots in there. And now they're showing through the canvas. So this is why I use resin for these cheap canvases, because I'm going to have that layer that's going to cover that, and you won't have this. Like, this is not even flush in here. It's all chunked up wood. Anyway, rant over. Let's get on with the gesso. I'm not going to worry about the edges. I just want the main area nice and secured. Just sealing that canvas in. It prevents any leaks, any resin leaking through. Let's get rid of those lines because they will affect the way the resin flows. You can use a roller too, but I didn't feel like getting that dirty. Or a bigger brush. Alright. So we'll let that dry. It takes about 10 minutes or so, and we will get on with the next step. Okay, now my canvas is actually sealed, and I know that because I did it myself. So I'm going to actually spray paint all my edges in black. Actually, I'm just going to spray paint the whole thing in black. So I'm going to be using the semi-gloss, and I'm going to spray paint this canvas real quick. So I'm going to mask up and do that, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll get on with doing the vase pour. Alright, I'm just going to lightly brush out these little puddles I made quickly before the spray paint dries. Stuff dries so fast. There we go. Just those two little corners here. It'll hide when we do the resin pour, but just so we don't have any hiccups with the resin flowing properly, we'll let that dry. And then we'll come back and we'll pour resin. Okay, creative people. Our canvas is all nice and dry and ready to go. I got my vase all set up and ready to go. So all I did there was just found, actually my Mod Podge container worked best with just my silicone cup on it just to keep it in place. I'll just re-level that out again. So just kind of make what works best for you. Make sure you also clean your glass first. Use rubbing alcohol, get all the fingerprints off of it. Make sure that's kind of level. It'll create a neat design if it's a little bit off. Make sure your canvas is level. That's good, that's all good. We're good. And we're good on that side. Great. Don't want anything that's not level. You're going to get some resin running in the wrong direction. I have picked out a gem red. This orange, which I'm going to tone down with some gold. It's a little bit bright, but it'll work really nice on this black. Same thing with this yellow. So, and this is the royal gold that I will put in with those just to give a little extra. And then, of course, I'm going to use black. So I'm going to get mixing up my colors, and then we'll get pouring. I also mixed up 640 mils as per my resin calculator. Starting off with the lightest colors first. I'm going to do a big heaping scoop. I want my colors to be nice and bright. I want to get started and be a little disappointed with dull colors. So I'm going to be generous with my mica powders. And we'll throw the royal gold in now. So I'm just going to do maybe a quarter of a spoonful just to tone it down a little bit. So that gem red is not very bright, but I like how dark it is, so I want to try it out. I'm going for fall colors. It's fall, so I'm doing fall projects. It is the best season, in my opinion. I love fall. I'm going to do a generous teaspoon of black too. And I'm honestly going to use the black just on the edges. Once we get pouring, it's all going to pool down the middle. So I'm going to fill that up and then we'll move the canvas around and whatnot. So we'll use that for the edges. Now let's get my resin poured in here. Oh, I love that red already. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. See how far that gets us. There we go. Look at that gold in there. I love how when you mix mica powders together, they don't totally blend all the way. Like they do, but they don't. Like, that's just gorgeous. Different tones in there. I love it. Alright. Use the same one for orange. Here comes the orange coming through. That gold. Beautiful. There we go. So yeah, just tone it down just a little bit. It's still vibrant. It's still bright. But it's not like neon in your face bright. Oh, red. Whoa, 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 wee. Wow. I haven't used this color yet. This is gorgeous. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Oh, this is going to look awesome with the black. Oh my goodness, so exciting. Ooh, I love these. All right, get my black going. And black is just black. Okay, I'll put that away for later. These guys out of the way for now. All right, so I'm going to start with pouring some clear resin on the top just to help my resin flow better. And I'll kind of just start things off. I'm going to help it out a little bit with my gloves. Some people don't do this, but I do. It just makes it easier for your resin to have a path to go. Resin will flow where there's already resin. And then this way you're not going to end up with just streaks of resin down your vase. I'll pour nicer. So there we go. I get that all lubed up. There we go. And now your resin will pour nicely. So I'm going to start with my dark color first, which is black, because black is very powerful and it will overtake the other colors. So be very careful when doing black with light colors, so it will overtake it. And that's about all I'm going to really do for the black. We're going to be using it more in the corners, and I have extra resin to make it more. So then I'll go into the red. And just keep alternating colors. Oh, that red's gorgeous. And I'm doing a free pour because when you're doing a type of pour like this, the colors blend quite a bit. So I'm trying to keep them a little bit separated for this pour. So I'll add a little black now. Red. Orange. And yellow. So I'm going to let that do its thing for a little bit, and then I'll keep adding more. The resin's really, really fluid right now, so it's just going to keep running out those colors. In about 10 minutes or so, it's going to get a little bit harder. Oh, look at these nice colors. And it'll start slowing down. But at this stage is where I'm going to tell the resin, hey, there's a little gap here, you go there, and check your little gaps. See, that was the only one I had a little gap. And that's because I put the clear coat on first and let that resin flow. So this is a little bit different than acrylic pouring. You're going to have to take your time a little bit more. Otherwise, the resin's just going to keep flowing off your vase. See, now we're starting to slow down a little bit. I know you can't see it on the side. I'll get some views afterwards, but you get to enjoy all this trippy pattern that's happening at the bottom. Oh, this is going to be really neat. I love using mica powders on vases over alcohol. You still get that translucence, but you get all the shimmer and sparkle in there where you don't get that with alcohol. Like, it just gives it that classier look. All right, so I am gonna use the rest of this black in here in these corners right now and just get that kind of sitting on my canvas, because I need to make up some more. I'm gonna let these colors sit for a little bit while I do this. Now I'm gonna make my lines thinner and pour less at a time. All right, now the black back here is kind of mixing in with the colors. That's great. And it's nice and warm in this room today, so this stuff will dry fast. The colder your room, the slower your resin cures. It's kind of one of those projects you have to have patience for. I think that's what goes with any project, though. All right, rest of my yellow. All right, I'll let that all run off. So I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes and then I'm going to come back. Okay, I'm going to go through my colors one more time and move my vase. That's curing. It's warm. It's warm in my hands. So I gotta get moving this. I can kind of manipulate the top there. Get that extra resin flowing off. Alright, so I'm going to put this into a silicone pan to finish dripping there. I'm going to change my gloves again. Oh, the vase is going to turn out cool. Happy already. Now we're going to manipulate this pattern. I kind of had a different vision. I don't know if it's going to work now. So too spread out. I'll just heat this up so it flows a little bit better. It's already starting to cure. Use the rest of this up. Stretchy stretch. Get that guy back in the middle. I'm going to go along my edges and my finger. Make sure the resin's all covering my edges. I'm one of those artists that like clean edges. Some people do them, some people don't. It's just preference that I like to do them. I think it's part of the piece. Of course, if you're framing it, it doesn't matter, but in this case, I'm doing it. Lots of extra resin here. So I'll just go along with my black. Try not to get it on my floor. Okay, there we go. Those are all covered. A little pocket here, so I'll go and fill that in. Pockets on your edge. Alright, now what to do with this. So this is cool and all, but we can make it better. I like the little swoopy swoop. Wonder if I'll do a little swipey swipes. Just play with this pattern a little bit. Kind of like sunbursts. Kind of muddy in there. Maybe I should stop playing with it. Let's get the bubbles. Let's get the bubbles. So I'm going to let that sit now. I'll let that cure. I'm going to go back to my vase and I'm going to pour the rest of my resin on it. Turn our attention to this guy over here. There we go. That should work. Well, you guys can see better and how this works. Well, the resin's slowed down quite a bit now, so should get a better pattern. Little pocket there to help your resin. Same with this spot. Layers, layers, layers. It's all about the layers. All about the layers. No base, just layers. It's gonna look so pretty You're just going to get all these little subtle hints of color. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I just like the translucence over the opaque. Okay, now I'll throw in the rest of this black. Drop there. Drop there. And that should give a little bit of depth. Okay, we'll see how that turns out. And that is all we will do today. Alright friends, it is now that time of the video where I ever so kindly ask you to hit that subscribe button for me. I do this as a living and I love making this art and giving you all the plethora of knowledge I have in my brain to share to you for free. Alright creative people, we are done. So, this is how the painting turned out. Like, there are so many tiny details in this. It's just absolutely stunning. I love how this turned out. You got so many cell formations in there. You can really stare at this for hours. It's really cool. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And that is that for this one. Now we'll move on to our vase. And I haven't demolded this one yet. So that just popped right off, just because it's plastic. I can put my Mod Podge away. My silicone cup off there. Good for another day. Alright, so this is the excess resin that dripped off. Now, a little tip guys, I've mentioned this in other videos. Do not throw this away. If you make jewelry or decorate boxes or want to put this on a sketchbook, like there are numerous things that you can use these resin drippings for. Like just look at this one. It's absolutely stunning. It reminds me of Tiger's Eye gemstone, which I have one right here. Like look at that. That made the same thing. So you can get these beautiful designs and use them for other projects. I always save these. So you can always cut these into shape and use them in a painting or give that a little extra 3D effect. Lots of different projects you can use resin drippings for. So I always keep these. So now, this is our vase. So the bottom always turns out really cool looking because the resin just sits there. But this is how the mica powder vase pours turn out. So they're very subtle in color, and the thing that I like about these is when the sun hits these, all those colors pop out and you get this like rainbow shimmery effect. I really like the translucent aspect that you get when using mica powders in a vase pour over some of the alcohol inks. So now all I have to do is just go around and trim off my drippings, and that's going to be a beautiful vase. Get one of these babies, just go around the edge. There we go. Done and done. So this is how everything turned out. So we'll start in with the painting. Kind of get a close-up. I know it's just showing my reflection in the background there. It's hard filming shiny resin. But this looks so absolutely stunning. I just love it so much. And then of course we got our vase. And that turned out beautiful as well. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay creative peeps, and I'll see you in the next one.